What if I told you the majority of businesses approach strategy in the wrong way, leading to rising costs, falling profit, and increased competition? What if there was a way to create uncontested market space, and in doing so you could make the competition irrelevant? Well, in today's video we will be reviewing Blue Ocean Strategy by W. Chan Kim and Renee Maborn, which explores exactly how to do that. So what is this book about and who is it for? So this book is a business strategy book. So it's based around strategy. So if you're anyone in the world of business, from CEO to entry-level entrepreneur to intrapreneur, and you use strategy, this is a must-read book and there's so much to gain from it for you. So Blue Ocean Strategy at its most basic level is about pivoting a company's strategy away from the competition. So that the product or service that you're bringing to customers, the value that they get from that is different from the competition. And in pursuing differentiation, you will make the competition irrelevant and you will create uncontested market space. According to the authors of this book, there are two types of strategy that businesses typically pursue. The first of these is red ocean strategy, and this is the type of strategy the majority of businesses typically pursue. So red ocean strategy typically involves competing within the existing market boundaries. The water is red in this ocean because of bloody competition. Business offerings of companies within this market space is typically very similar. The companies are all competing for the same group of customers, and finally, companies are trying to out-benchmark each other with very similar offerings. Blue ocean strategy, by contrast, typically involves competing outside of the existing market boundaries. Water in this ocean is blue because competition is low and possibilities are endless. Companies that pursuing blue ocean strategy have a business offering which is fundamentally different from the competition. Blue ocean strategy targets both new and old customers, and finally, due to the low level of competition, companies have a huge potential to generate both revenue and expand their offerings. So let me just briefly summarize the differences between those two strategies, because I do appreciate it is slightly confusing. So red ocean strategy on the one hand is a very oversaturated market space, right? A lot of competition with a very similar offering, all competing for the same customer group. Very, very difficult here to make a profit. Blue ocean strategy, by contrast, involves a company looking at the competition saying, okay, they're all doing the same thing here. Let me pivot my strategy and do something completely different. Offer customers a value that they're not getting from the competition. And in doing so, they create a new market space and they make the competition irrelevant because they've differentiated themselves from the competition. Okay, so now let's discuss three things I really enjoyed about this book that should give you a really good insight into what you can expect from it if you were to buy it and read it for yourself. So coming in at first place is the strategy canvas. So the strategy canvas is by far the most useful analytical tool that is presented in this book. For anyone that has read this book previously, they all say the same thing. The strategy canvas is the main takeaway. So what is a strategy canvas? A strategy canvas is essentially a line graph that shows a company's strategy. Using a strategy canvas, you can see and analyze your competitors' current strategies, and using that information, you can differentiate your own strategy from theirs. So looking at the strategy canvas more closely, on the x-axis are the industry's factors of competition. On the y-axis are the offering levels that customers get from each factor of competition. Then a company's offering is plotted against their competitions on the canvas in the form of a line graph. Based on the finished strategy canvas, you can start to visualize how to differentiate your offering from that of the competition. So coming in at second place are the 3 E's of fair process. Now, fair process is such an important part of strategy because at the end of the day, it'll be the executives that come up with the strategy, but it'll be the everyday employees that execute it. And bringing the employees round to understand your strategy and to be motivated to carry out is such a key part of that. And that is largely achieved by fair process. So, what are the 3 E's of fair process? Firstly, engagement, and this means involving employees in the strategic decisions that affect them and asking for their input. Secondly, explanation, and this means making sure employees understand why decisions have been made and the reasons behind them. Thirdly, expectation clarity, and this means that after the new strategy has been set, making sure that all employees understand the new rules of the game and how their performances will now be assessed. So when you adhere to the 3 E's of fair process, employees feel seen, heard, respected by their managers and the company. They feel sure that the company's headed in a safe direction financially. They feel job security. And most of all, when you put all of that together cumulatively, they feel motivated to carry out and execute the new strategy. So coming in at third place is strategy alignment. Now, when it comes to Blue Ocean strategy, there are 3 key propositions that your strategy has to adhere to in order to make sure that it is successful. Number 1, value proposition. This is the utility that buyers receive minus the cost they pay for it. Number 2, profit proposition. Is your new strategy profitable? Is it actually going to generate profit? Number 3, people proposition. Are the correct support systems and incentives in place so that your employees are actually motivated to go out and execute your new strategy? So when those 3 propositions are correctly adhered to, and you're also collectively across the board of the strategy pursuing both low cost and differentiation, you have a successful blue ocean strategy. For me, this is such an important point because when it comes to strategy, a lot of people get carried away on a particular aspect. They might be very, very focused on the profit side or very, very focused on the value side of their blue ocean strategy, but they actually forget the bigger picture. You have to view strategy from the holistic point of view. You have to see everything, the people proposition, the value proposition, and also the profit proposition. You have to see the bigger picture. And when the bigger picture is really nicely aligned, you will have a successful blue ocean strategy. But you need to make sure that each of those aspects are correctly adhered to and correctly carried out. So in my opinion, this is a really, really important point because I think when people are designing their blue ocean strategy, they get overinvested in one particular aspect. Maybe they're really focused on profit, so they spend most of their time focusing on the profit, and then they completely forget the people proposition. So it might be a really good strategy, but then it falls on its face because the proper time hasn't been spent on making sure the people proposition is correct. So alignment is so important. Making sure you view strategy from a holistic point of view, seeing all of those different propositions and making sure they're all correctly adhered to is so important, and it really makes a difference between a good blue ocean strategy and a bad one. So finally, what would I rate this book and would I recommend it? Well, firstly, I'd most definitely recommend it. One of the best books I've ever read from a business point of view, in my opinion. I would give this book a 9 out of 10. Absolutely phenomenal book. It made me completely rethink the whole notion of strategy. So many of the framework and tools that were provided in this book have been game-changing for me in my own business career, and I can't recommend it enough, guys. It is a business book, but it isn't too kind of economics or business language heavy. It's easily understandable and is very, very interesting. They provide case studies of businesses that have applied blue ocean strategy from companies within England, Canada, Australia, America, Japan, and many other countries. It's very, very interesting. There is so much to gain, guys, and I can't recommend this book enough. If you haven't picked it up already, guys, definitely do so because you most definitely will not regret it.